LSU wrapped up fall camp Saturday in Tiger Stadium, about a 90-minute workout. Media was invited to watch the entirety of the workout, and family was invited to attend as well. Media sat in the press box, family, boosters observed from the stands, the west stands in Tiger Stadium. And I have some notes. Now, when it transpired the way it did, I sort of understand why they allowed us to watch the last practice, because normally we never get to go watch scrimmages, which typically they have in Tiger Stadium during fall camp. And so when we were told they were going to let us watch Saturday's practice in Tiger Stadium, I got pretty excited thinking we're going to get to watch the last scrimmage. This was not that. They went out for the first half an hour or so and practiced. We saw some 7-on-7. We saw the offensive defensive line pass rush drill. They did some individual work. There were a few 11-on-11 periods. By my count, there were 7 possessions of 11-on-11. We did not see ones versus ones. Garrett Nussmeier did not participate in the 11-on-11, did not throw a pass at all during the practice. And Whit Weeks sat some of it out. Braylon Moore was helmet, shoulder pads, and just snapping and running off to the side, did not participate in 11-on-11 or in any of the practices that we saw. Dominic McKinley was absent. Nick Anderson was not participating. Keelan Moses, C.J. Jackson not participating. Kern, maybe the most notable that didn't participate. Austin Osbury also did not participate. Karrie's Kern was on the exercise bike, just riding his exercise bike. And so naturally, that begged a lot of questions. Now, we were not able, there was no media availability after practice, so we did not have the opportunity to ask Brian Kelly or any of the players questions after practice. So Nussmeier, a week before the opener, not throwing the football was notable. Now, I want to remind you that last Friday, okay, so a little more than a week ago now, not this past Friday, the Friday before, we got to watch practice at the indoor facility. Garrett Nussmeier was not throwing the football. When Brian Kelly met with reporters, he said, it's just load management. We got Nuss on a pitch count. He's going to scrimmage full bore, which was last Saturday in Tiger Stadium, which he did. Then Nussmeier practiced all last week, and then we go watch practice on Saturday. Nussmeier's not throwing the ball. And it begs the question, is there something going on with Nussmeier? So I asked Brian Kelly that today on Monday. Here was the answer.
When you get into the camp situation, we have I know it's not a great analogy, but we have a pitch count where we want to take our quarterback's load off, and all the installation was in, Matt. We were done with installation. So this was just more throwing. We wanted to wait and get into Clemson in game week. And so he'll be out there on Tuesday, practicing full.
I will say this. We have all been conditioned to be skeptical of coaches talking about injuries. The first coach I covered at this school, one time LSU was going to play a game against Tennessee, and that coach insisted that the center all week was healthy and was great. Not only did that center not play, he didn't even make the trip to Tennessee. That was Helms in 2011. That wasn't Helms. It was PJ Lonergan in 2011. We're conditioned to believe coaches are lying to us about injuries. To his credit, Brian Kelly was ahead of the curve with disclosing injury information. You know the scene in My Cousin Vinny where Joe Pesci is trying to get the other attorney. He's like, they're going hunt. He's going to butter him up and try to get him to divulge some stuff about the case. And he asks, and then what's the name? What's the actor's name? Lane. Whatever. The guy was the bad coach, the bad guy coach of the Hawks and Mighty Ducks. Calls his secretary. I was like, hey, get all my files and send them over to Gambini. Because it's disclosure and you had to. Well, now they have to with an injury report. But Brian Kelly don't have to do that. He's just always been forthcoming, since he's been at LSU anyway, about injuries. He just discloses stuff. So I've come to believe him when he tells us certain things, but even still with Nuss from a week ago when he said it's just a pitch count, and then he practiced the next day and all the next week. And so when Nuss didn't practice or didn't throw the ball on Saturday, that was my assumption, it was this whole pitch count thing. And that's what Kelly told us today. I can tell you after practice, I did reach out to several different people within the program to ask, and all told me unequivocally there is nothing wrong with him. He is totally fine. Nussmeier is totally fine. There's nothing wrong at all. And Brian Kelly seemed to validate that today. And I will say this is really a hat tip to Jack Marucci and the training staff and all of the people in that department, because they have really been on the forefront of a lot of the bio tracking and all the different measurements and markers. They all wear those tracking devices that look like a sports bra, but it's measuring like their heart rate, their blood flow, their oxygen levels, all that stuff, so they know who's losing weight, who's at their most efficiency, everything. The whole acclimatization period Kelly talked about, knowing that the highest incidence of soft tissue injuries are in the first 7 days, so they start them very slowly, started indoor, then outdoor, gradually ramped up. And they had one soft tissue injury throughout 3 weeks of fall camp. Jakeem Jackson had a slight hamstring pull. He's back out there already. So part of me looks and goes, they seem to have it figured out. So if they think that Nuss being on a pitch count is going to help him, okay, then limit his throwing. Fine. A couple of the others that were notable, I did ask Brian Kelly. I only got the mic once during the press conference. I asked him afterwards. I found him in the hall. I asked him about Dominic McKinley. He said that was an excused absence. McKinley was not at practice on Saturday. And then I asked him about Karrie's Kern. He said it was patellar tendonitis. So, yes, I cannot, not even, why would I lie about that? So the same thing that Nuss has had, whatever the patellar tendonitis, is what Kern had. And I think that's just a very fancy way for people to say that he's got a sore knee. And there's nothing really wrong at all, and he's going to be able to go. Braylon Moore, they were just obviously a precaution, not needing him to do anything. He's the center of your offensive line. You need him to be out there. So what I will say is this, and one very clear observation from Saturday, there is a massive chasm between Garrett Nussmeier and the next two quarterbacks. And I fully understand Colin, Hurley, missed spring and had just an incredible fight to get back onto the football field. It's remarkable. He's nowhere near good enough to help you win a football game today. Today. It's not say he won't be. Say today. Same with Michael Van Buren. They were bad on Saturday. There's no other way to say it. They were bad. There was one route, Aaron Anderson, down the numbers on the right side, about 20 yards downfield, was wide open. Van Buren threw it behind him, incomplete. Those two guys are not ready to help you win. I can say that unequivocally. So there may not be a more indispensable player in all of college football, considering expectations. LSU's championship expectations, you have got to keep Garrett Nussmeier upright for 12 regular season games and whatever else may come after that. There were three big offensive plays. Harlan Berry had a gorgeous touchdown reception in 7-on-7. He was out in the flat. Witt tried to jump the route. Berry snagged it, turned toward the sideline, and jetted upfield about 10 yards into the end zone. Xavier Thomas caught a 65-yard touchdown, beat Michael Turner deep. It was Van Buren who threw that pass. And the play before that, they were in a beautiful – this is a play I think they're going to utilize a lot. It's a sort of tight end drag route to Bauer Sharp. Sharp start on the left side of the line. He releases underneath, coming to the right. They dump it to him, and he turns upfield. It's a beautiful design play, and they have the right players to do it. That you're going to see the tight ends obviously involved a lot. And then, they wrapped up practice. The last 45 minutes or so was just a dress rehearsal where they went through every possible scenario that you could imagine. For example, there was a point where the offense has the ball at their own 20-yard line, and Nuss just kind of rolls it. It looked like he was bowling. He just rolled it. Well, he was simulating a fumble. And so it was like, fumble, okay, quick change. Now the defense has to run out there. Okay, then you get a stop, and Clemson is lining up for a field goal. Well, then they simulate the snapper running under center to try to hard count the defense to jump off sides. Okay, then they moved him back 5 yards and then attempted a long field goal, but the field goal came up short, so they had Berry and Brown under the upright as the field goal returner. Think, kick six. And he returns it, and it's a long return, but he gets knocked out at the 30. Well, it's sort of the end of the half, so now you got to go attempt a field goal. Well, you go to attempt a field goal, but you have a false start on the field goal, so you have to back up 5. And so then you're rushing the field goal unit out. Now you're going to attempt a deep ball instead, a jump ball, Hail Mary. it was just all of this sequencing, and it was everything you can imagine. There was even one where LSU takes over the ball offensively at their own 2. They stall out. They got a punt from the back of the end zone. Now they take a safety, and so LSU has to free kick from the 20, and so Aaron Burrell goes out there to free kick. I mean, they just simulated everything. Anything you can imagine that could happen in a football game, like they were simulating it. So there was nothing new, in theory, for these guys to experience when they go to Clemson on Saturday night. So that's what we got to see Saturday in Tiger Stadium as they wrapped up fall camp. And now today, after having an off day on Sunday, today, Monday, they're back at it. Full bore, getting ready with install and preparation for Clemson on Saturday night in Clemson. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.